Political and Public Affairs. I think I'm honored to even have the Honorable Member of Parliament here, Dr. I.B. Kago, one of the founding members of the Ministry of Political and Public Affairs, have been here this morning. I think I want to say welcome, sir. I think the Ministry of Political and Public Affairs, if we are to say something today, your record has been everywhere. I think having you people on board is going to be wonderful. I think we need some of your expertise. As the last time, we presented this member to His Excellency, Dr. Hannes Baikoro. I think being here today, Madam Minister, it is an opportunity to have wonderful people on our side. The Minister of Political and Public Affairs is open to each and everybody.
Minister, the honorable members of Parliament, esteemed members of the APRM National Governing Council, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to formally introduce members of the reconstituted APRM National Governing Council. A very fundamental requirement of the APRM Continental outfit that for a country to be recognized, you have to establish an all-inclusive National Governing Council drawn from all shades of opinion and walks of life. And it's interesting to know that Sierra Leone competently and efficiently fulfilled this requirement since 2008. And recently it was also with the wisdom of the APRM revitalization and restructure that you need to review these structures. It was against this background that His Excellency the President formally inaugurated these council members, and I will now have the pleasure to announce the names of this esteemed body. We have Mr. Mohamed K. Warite, who is from the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development. Mr. Ahmed A. Sano, unfortunately, on another.
Oh, you have to stop.
You don't have a choice.
Yes, no choice. the essence of power. That's number one. I'm glad that, I am going to give the first statement. For in our business, I have a big brother here, whom I always respect, who is one of the architects of the creation of, the NPPA, in the person of the oldest and the youngest honorable member, when we want to talk about NPPA, that is the Minister of Political and Public Affairs, we are obviously looking at all ministries in this nation. Because when you want to touch on public affairs, you have the reference to the political and public affairs. When you want to talk about real accountability, you consider the issue of public issues. And he has been a guru. I've been in Parliament for 8 years. He has been a minister, he's always in Parliament. He's an old man and a younger man. So I make him my biggest lieutenant. So we can move this particular ministry on. I want to just give you a story. We have a minister whom I had a different opinion about. Very different opinion. Because I would always say she was very vociferous in the radios talking about national issues. And being an opposition MP, sometimes we fear people who pour energy and we don't appreciate them. You know why? Because we want to move ahead and come to power. In that vein, she was my friend. I'm very honest. Yeah. And I want us to move as a team with an opinion of honesty. She was not my friend. But when we made a trip to, I was fortunate to be in a team going to Kenya. My perception changed. Because her performance in the APRM meeting, so now we reach everybody that's calling her, Madam Minister, Madam Sorelio, Madam this. So I consider her to be of national favor. So with that, I am in the same boat with her. Because irrespective of politics, let our dream be that of Sierra Leone. Let our pride be that of Sierra Leone. Parties will come and go. You'll be a minister or member of parliament, the other day you are out of it. But if you put your nation first, honestly the goodies will always follow you wherever you are. your children will gain out of it. So, all of us seated here have an obligation to this nation, and a very serious one. How are we going to make sure that's being pushed? Our national unity, irrespective of political opinions. Our national love, irrespective of opinions. Let's look at the green, white, and blue as our issue, not this party thing. I will not want APC to be in power. APC will not want SFPP to be in power. But what we all will yearn for, let's see Sierra moving. He has all the books in his head. But it's not going to be about his book. What I want, and all of you want, is national cohesion. Let's respect every staff member. Let's make sure we are in it together. We seek the interests of one another. We move the ministry as we have started moving it. I appreciate the NPP hour. I've started pleading with my elder brother. So I'm both of us to go to the president to make sure our Ministry of Political and Public Affairs cannot be carrying just 1 or 2 commissions. Why do we have other commissions that are only doing sensitization, and you have a Political and Public Affairs ministry whom they cannot collaborate with or work under that? Let this ministry be their supervisory body. Who is going to take their regulations to Parliament?
They said the president.
No, President cannot. Please let me answer this. President cannot take. President cannot take.
I know.
President cannot take bills to Parliament. President cannot take regulations to Parliament. The only thing President takes to Parliament is his annual speech, which we are always in to talk about. We give him 5 allotted days to make sure we either praise him or criticize him.
May I state that when it comes to national issues such as the APRM or even the creation of this ministry, we have always taken it as a matter of fact that all the political stakeholders in this country will always be involved in their activities and their operations. Some people believe that the creation of this ministry was by error. No, it wasn't by error. During one of the reshuffles, the president made it very, very clear that he needed an institution that could bring all the political parties together and other state institutions for the purpose of promoting democracy in human rights. And it's not surprising that we have other institutions such as large civil society, etc. I think the president was prepared by the incident that took place. You know that we have this report which was circulated when the president set up a special committee to investigate the incidents at the SFPP office. He thought we should have an institution that would be independent enough. But having stated that, I hold the view that this is a very relevant institution. And all of us will work together. We have to make colleagues in Parliament that we should mutually support that's required to make it effective and useful. The president has a way of handling things. Most of the governance-related institutions were deliberately created by him for the purpose of promoting democracy. Apart from the APRM, don't forget that he has also directly, deliberately introduced the actual change of the Ministry of Information. But he also insisted that it must have its independence. We also created the OGI for the purpose of promoting democracy and the purpose of promoting the whole concept of good governance. Again, you will discover that it has a huge chunk of independence. One thing about those institutions is that when it comes to taking papers to cabinet, then of course you begin to ask yourself the question to make sure that you have good rules for people. In the past, that is what's seen as a human right, but it's a human right. Even from the Human Rights Commission know that that's part of the new generation of human rights. So they will also ask you very simple questions about the educational system in the country. What do you do to make sure that your citizens are well educated to meet the challenges of the present? some members of the APRM review committee will ask such questions. So like I said, but of course, the chairman, the professor here has made a point. There are also structures. You must have a government.
Eventually, after the elections of 2007, I was brought on board as a member of the NGC, and also a focal person for one of the thematic areas, that's economic governance and management. We know very well that the enthusiasm of then chairman, who is now executive chairman, brought the light of the day on the APRM process. Because some of us were enthused by the APRM in 2011. Apparently, with commitments we have shown is abundance, and we are now ready to work even more. That we have seen new blood into the system.
In charge with the responsibility of promoting and protecting human rights of all. On that note, I'd like to assure everybody here and the nation as a whole that I would work assiduously with all the others to bring on board.
Thank you to the Honourable Minister and for nominating me, and to His Excellency the President for appointing me. From the brief experience in Kenya, the Sierra Leone APRM is held in high esteem as a good governance body and institution. I want to assure members that I joined the APRM NGC representing people with disabilities, but I also come with a wealth of experience of over 15 years in the IT, engineering and business and administration sectors, working both for private and UK government over these years. I've lived and worked in the UK for over 20 years, and I've decided to come home to work with people with disabilities and training them in IT. And as we
Honourable Ministers of Parliament, I greet you all in the name of Africa Peer Review Mechanism. My commissioner I am representing here at the APRM level. Of course, our core mandate is to educate people about their civil rights and responsibilities. I recognize her as a very hard-working minister. I can't believe this morning she called on us. She called me. Benjamin, where are you supposed to attend this meeting? And you know, we want ministers of such nature who want something to happen. I appreciate her so much, not as a minister outside.
Our executive chairman, the proper chairman of the APRM. I'm drawn from the civil society, specifically the Civil Rights Coalition. And our core mandate is to promote human rights and defend good governance. With that experience in the civil society for over 10 years, working in the National Youth Coalition, up to the point that I've been appointed by the President to serve in the board of the National Youth Commission. I'll bring that experience in promoting good governance, especially in disseminating core messages of the APRM and decentralized structures.
Mr. ID Cabo, I'm going to be very, very brief. As the various speakers said, the main factor of our civil war in this country was injustice.
Honorable members of Parliament, whenever I see Onkulaji, I thought of my little brother, Lenny. Because whilst we are going on, it was all IB in that house. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a little over a year ago, this ministry, National Political and Public Affairs, in observing 2015 as the AU year for the empowerment of women, identified your humble servant in the person of Maud Peacock as one of the illustrious women to be recognized and given a certificate of merit in respect of, I quote from the certificate, the role of the public service in women's empowerment, innovations, and accessible service delivery. It was an honor, a privilege, and a great responsibility. Well, at that time, I was not all that enthusiastic about the certificate, you know, but now, when I got the letter,
take this opportunity to give a very good statement on behalf of the National Youth Coalition. Consider this particular day momentous because we are given another opportunity to serve in a national capacity. I think when I looked at the thematic areas of the APRM, I came to realize that indeed the issue of employment or unemployment is a very pivotal issue that I think that revolves around a thematic area that talks about economic governance and management. I think with my own wealth of experience, I can assure this august body that I will give my ultimate support and I will
Then we will buy the world. And for some of us, we've been surviving because we've been engaging older minds, older and experienced minds. I won't go into details. There was a time I was facing difficulty between the National Focal Point here and the NGC. I went to him. He advised, and I knew his advice needed, so thank you, sir. Because I think always we have problems when we have misrepresentation of roles. And when we also fail to collaborate and effectively work as a team. But I think that is now a thing of the past. The current National Focal Point, I want to know my hand. She is a living partner. She always supports me. And she don't micromanage me. I don't even take micromanagement. Right? Because in the first place, the APRM has two responsibilities. To the nation, to the continent, and to the world. If I'm being deceptive and then misled nationally, I will be disgraced continentally. I will not allow that. I have a philosophy. Allow me to fall on my own weight, not on your steam. Right? Yep. So I will want to appeal. We are going to work as a focal point and as a ministry, and we only have one focal point. I want to do that. That's what the APRM provides for. You know, we have to be frank.
One focal point.
Yes, one national focal point. We work with the national focal point. When we are in Nairobi, you listen to all the messages. I don't want to be discredited by somebody's intervention in the wrong way. I will be very tough and hard to resist that. Okay? But that said, we are going to work collaboratively to push this nation forward. And I'm happy that that assurance has been given by my father. Thank you once more. We'll do things together, we'll hang it, and then we'll move forward. To you members, I've heard something here. The responsibility of Sierra Leone in good governance is in the hands of the NGC. What does that mean? Who will take responsibility? For assessing who? All facets of this country. Government, civil society, and the private sector. Some people will have a misrepresentation of the APRM as if we are all the chains in government. That's wrong. You know, recently when we were in Kuloko, a civil society presentation was made on the Afro Barometer. I demolished that one from several perspectives. The professional event,
executive chairman of the APRM, his permanent secretary, members of the National Governing Council, colleagues of the Ministry of Political and Public Affairs, members of the Fourth Estate. Good morning. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, my able permanent secretary. I am grateful for your unwavering enthusiasm and support for the Ministry of Political and Public Affairs and the Africa Peer Review Mechanism. The newly reconstituted board of the APRM National Governing Council as exemplifies the commitment towards achieving the goal of good governance, democracy, and best practices. This was demonstrated in Nairobi, Kenya, by some of its members that attended the 25th summit of the APRM, and I want to thank those members from the ground of my heart, not forgetting my Right Honourable Member of Parliament, J.B. Mansouri, who demonstrated in which spirit that democracy is really at work in Sierra Leone. Thank you, thank you, and thank you. As you are about to be officially inaugurated as member of the National Governing Council, I want to admonish you all to be focused and steadfast in the discharge of your respective duties as council members. Your commitment and dedication to this body is of utmost importance. Let me re-echo the words of His Excellency, the President, Dr. Ernest Bai Koroma, that we have to sustain the momentum of the APRM as a country, Sierra Leone. I vow to serve her faithfully at all times. I promise to defend her honor and good name, always work for her unity, peace, freedom, and prosperity, and put her interests above